This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, Bruchim Abam, welcome everyone. So the closing moments of Tzom Gedalia, I want to share with you two thoughts. One is the thought of Rabbi Itzele Peterburgh. We like to quote him during this time of the year. Rabbi Itzele Peterburgh, of course, is the primary disciple of Rabbi Yisrael Salanter. And Rabbi Itzele Peterburgh discusses the Mishnah, I believe in Rosh Hashanah, and Daf Tez Zayin Amud Aleph says that Rosh Hashanah, Kol Boi Olam Oivrim Lefanav Kivnei Maraim. And Rosh Hashanah, the whole world stands before God, Kivnei Maraim, like Bnei Maraim. And actually, the Mishnah says V'arba Prakam Ha'olam Nidain, the world is judged on four occasions: B'Pesach, on the grain; B'Shvuos, on the fruits; and Sukkos, on the water. And Rosh Hashanah, Kol Boi Olam Oivrim Lefanav Kivnei Maraim. On Rosh Hashanah, the whole world stands before God, Kivnei Maraim. And if you look in the Gemara over there on Daf Yud Ches, the Gemara brings three interpretations of what it means, Kivnei Maraim. The Gemara starts off like this: Hacha Targimoi Kivnei Imrana, like young sheep. And there's another opinion, it means Kechayalois Beis David, like the soldiers in David's war. And there's another opinion, Kimalois Beis Maraim, and like the ascent of Beis Maraim. Either way, any of these three interpretations of the Mishnah, the point being that on Rosh Hashanah, we don't all get judged in one fell swoop. It's not like Hashem gazes at everybody together, but rather we stand before God one at a time. And Rabbi Itzele Peterburgh has a famous explanation why God does not judge us all together. He judges us one at a time, because in order to be merachim on the people earlier on the line, meaning if you get to God, so to speak, the Gemara says like this. The Gemara says that on Rosh Hashanah, Hashem judges the people after He judges the king. Why does it, like the pasuk says, Mishpat, Shlomo Melech says, Mishpat Avdoi u Mishpat Amoi. That first Hashem judges the king, the Melech Yisrael, and then Hashem judges the people. And the Gemara asks why. And the Gemara says, Mekame delefo shcharoin af. Before God gets angry. So to speak, the way the judgment works is Malchusa da'ara ke'in Malchusa d'shmaya. That it works, Malchusa d'shmaya, ke'in Malchusa da'ara. That the way the system works upstairs is similar to the way it works downstairs. And just like downstairs, so to speak, at the end of the day, the judge is in a bad mood, so too upstairs, by the time God gets up to the 100th person, the 1,000th person, he's, so to speak, in a bad mood. So therefore, the earlier you are on the line, the better off you'll be. This is not what I'm saying. It's a Gemara. It's a Gemara Mefureshes, Mekame Delefo Shcharoin Af. That, so to speak, you're better off earlier in the line. Fine. But now we're going to discuss another prat over here. This is what I call the life-saving advice of Rabbi Itzele Peterburgh. Because one of the three explanations of the word, of the words, Kol Vay Olam Oivrim Lefanav Kivnei Maraim, is that Kivnei Imrana, that we pass before God in Rosh Hashanah like young sheep. Why do young sheep pass before anybody? So Rashi explains, if you're a farmer and you have a lot of sheep, so you want to count the Asiri Yiyah Kodesh. So you open up the pen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You take the red mark, X marks the spot, and you mark Elsie the sheep, whatever her name is. You put a big red mark, and she's number 10. Guess what's going to happen to Elsie? She's dead meat. She's going to be lamb chops in the Beis HaMikdash coming up. She's Meiser Behema. And then you let another 9 sheep out, and then you mark the 10th sheep. Says Rav Itzele Peterburgh, if the sheep had any seichel, and realized that there's a red mark on his back, where would the sheep go? Immediately after coming out of the pen, the sheep would head straight to the beach, straight to the lake, straight to the swimming pool, straight to the washing machine, and make sure to wash off its fur, or maybe take a really close shave, because if you have a red mark on you, that means you're going to be shechted, your dinner, your supper in the Beis HaMikdash. If the sheep had any seichel, the sheep would wash off the red mark. Well, it says Rav Itzele Peterburgh, a big chiddush, that even though the Gemara says, Rosh Hashanah Kol Boi Olam Oivrim Lefanav Zachu Nechtavin V'Nechtamin L'Chayim Lo Zachu Nechtavim V'Nechtavim L'Misa Beinonim Tzuliyim V'Oimdim. So one would then think that if you are written and sealed Chas V'Shalom for a bad year, there's nothing you could do about it. Says Rav Itzele Peterburgh, you see, in the oimek of the mashal of Chazal, that if Chazal are comparing us on Rosh Hashanah to sheep being marked, the same way, the only reason the sheep is going to go l'maiser behema is because the sheep doesn't have the seichel to wash off the mark. But if the sheep had the seichel to wash off the mark, it could wash off the mark. And guess what? It would then get mingled among the other sheep, and it would never end up as lamb chops, as dinner for a kohen in the Beis HaMikdash. Says Rav Itzele, if only we had more seichel than the sheep. But the truth is we do have more seichel than the sheep. And therefore, nobody knows what their dinim were on Rosh Hashanah. Nobody knows what kind of gezeros, chas v'sham, were nigzar in a person on Rosh Hashanah. Even if it was nichtav v'nechtam on Rosh Hashanah for a decree which is not l'tov, a person, says Rav Itzele, has the opportunity to wash off the mark, erase it, and then mix themselves up with everybody else who doesn't have the red mark. So the question is, Rabbi say, how do you wash off the mark? So it's interesting that the Balei Musar quote this piece of the Koich Vayar. By the way, there are two Koich Vayars. There's a Koich Vayar that's published with the Ar Yisrael. Ar Yisrael are the letters of Rabbi Yisrael Salanter. And that's sort of the essays of Rav Itzele Peterburgh, about 10 essays. And then you have another Koich Vayar, which you have smaller pieces, and then in the back something called Shavi Vayar. And on page Kufayin Daled, the way Rav Itzele says it is that b'demais, with tears of tefillah, with tears of tshuva, whether they're the tears of the eyes or the tears of the heart, whether a person outwardly is shivchi kamayim libech, or is b'mistarim tifka nafshi. Either way, a person has the opportunity with tears to wash off bad decrees. And that's a tremendous chiddush, because pashtus in the Gemara, if you're nichtav v'nechtam, that's it, you're done. The Gemara only says beinonim are tzluyim v'oimdim ad yom kippurim. So the chiddush of Rav Itzele, based on the mashal of Chazal, is that it is possible to wash off your bad decrees. In fact, the Rav Eliyahu Lapian in the Lev Eliyahu also quotes this mashal. He brings it from Rav Yisrael Salanter himself. The mashal is from the Gemara, but the understanding of the mashal and the sort of digging in that if it's comparable to a sheep that's marked, that it's possible to wash off. So Rabbi Yisrael would say, like we say in the Haftarah of Yom Kippur, Rachatzu Hizaku, cleanse yourself, wash yourself, purify yourself, that it's possible to purify yourself and thereby clean yourself off from the decrees. So we have 10 days. Hopefully we're all tzaddikim gemurim. And for Beinanim, we certainly have a Shato Yom Kippur, and the Chiddush of Rav Itzele is even if we were nichtav and nechtam, not l'toiv, it's possible to clean it off. So this is the first year, and stay tuned for the second shiur.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.